There's actually surprisingly not too many people to like have dialogue with here. You got a lot of things where you can interact with them and do stuff like this. And
it's a nice touch. It's
I was expecting it to be like a Life is Strange kind of thing where you'd sit down on the bench and like Aloy would talk about stuff, or maybe a thing where you could listen to people, but I mean you can do that here. But there's actually like not a whole lot to it. Also, let's steal some supplies.
But people are still like ignoring you because you're not.
Yeah.
Like some people will talk to you, but there's still a lot of people that just like are not down to clown with the Aloy.
They don't even seem to like acknowledge that like you're an outcast. Like they just kind of do your typical video game, I'm going to exposit slightly about the setting and talk about what I did today kind of thing to random stranger. Hey, Karst.
What are you doing here?
Careful. Pretend like we've never met. I wasn't supposed to trade with outcasts in the wilds, remember?
How could I forget? And how generous of you to talk to me now.
Don't be like that. You know I'll be rooting for you in the proving tomorrow. Can't wait to see the looks on some of these faces when you win. And if you need any last-minute supplies...
See, but this is still slightly better animation than the conversation we just had.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because he has a beard and they can hide it a little bit more.
The wilds.
And he's kind of got that like permanent like roguish smirk on his face. It makes it look like he's got like a little bit more emoting going on.
He seems like the kind of guy who would just naturally wear that face all the time.
You can't be.
I'm joking, Karst.
Is that why there's the dadification of games? Is because dads have beards and they're easy to animate?
All sales are fine. If it breaks, you're out of luck.
I would not be surprised if that was, on some level, responsible for the
You can also buy armor from him instead of Teb if you want to be a jackass.
I think I did.
Do we need anything here? Oh, he's got another free sample box for us.
See you later, Karst.
Good luck.
You know, going back to Alex's shot reverse shot point earlier, she made me wonder, like, okay, so like you made me think like, how much worse or better would it be in a BioWare game, for example, where you just have two characters talking to each other, just like sort of have them sit down or lean or some other way like interact with the environment and just hold a shot that has both of them at all times. And then I started thinking, the problem when you do that is that they're just going to be... It looks even more weird and unnatural when they're both just standing still, speaking at each other without breaking eye contact.
In a moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have any of you played God of War yet?
But first,
the new one?
No.
Oh man, look at those floating sleeves there.
Because the whole gimmick with God of War is that it's one continuous camera shot, the whole game. So there is no cutting whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Yes, but it also has, like, fewer, well...
There are scenes with multiple people talking, and it avoids doing shot reverse shot. And it has to, because you can't just cut.
So we've got some kind of important stuff going on here.
Maybe that's just like the mental way for you to make your game seem longer. It's just like one long take.
It actually does make it harder to quit playing God of War because there's no like super distinct chapter ends. It just continues to flow from one scene to another.
That is so interesting.
My own sister was taken. I hated the card game. But the 13th king is dead. 2 years now.
It's hard to understand exactly what they're talking about here because, like, they keep talking about the other tribes, but we haven't seen any of them at all yet, so, like, it's hard to remember who's who.
This is your sort of initial intro to, like, oh, apparently there was some big war a while back, and there's still some fallout with that, but you're not really meant to really understand what's going on here. This is more of an introduction to Erend.
I really liked Erend's introduction because it makes it makes his people seem really, really far away, and it teases the goddamn your droid, Josh.
I didn't do it that time.
I know, it's just hilarious.
You were saying.
No, I like that it's sort of a preview of things to come, and it makes the world feel bigger when like you hear of this distant kingdom, and then 3 hours from now you'll be there. Well, maybe not 3 hours, but a couple hours from now you'll be there.
Where did you get yours?
Yeah.
That's good to know that it ends up paying off, which sometimes it doesn't in games.
Your tribe fears the old places.
Not paying off necessarily, but just like
Says
connecting.
I'm like other Nora.
Like it matters that they're saying these things, and it's not just like
Right.
just for
it's
the
not
sake
lore
of
fluff.
lore for the sake of lore.
Right.
Is that the dude who played the quartermaster
What's wrong?
in
Apologies.
Black Sails?
Malfunction.
Oh, Lynn?
It might be. There are a number of characters in this game that are based off of like
Come back.
their voice actors.
Wait.
No. We'll talk later. Have to go.
Whoa.
I have
guess
to
he's
admit
more
that I'm
hung
saying
over
this
than I
mostly
thought.
because he's just like slightly round
same
and he
trinket
has
that
mutton
Olin
chops.
has on his head. Since when did
And that is also the
His name is
defining
Owen?
characteristic of
Who
the
is he?
quartermaster from
And
Black
where did you get
Sails.
one of these?
He's just a scrounger with friends in high places. Now, he spends half his time digging for artifacts, the other half drinking or dicing. As for the trinket, well, I guess he dug it up somewhere. Just a weird old jewel he sticks on his face. I mean, no offense. It looks great on you.
It is not.
It would make sense that you would not like
thought your friend was gonna go down in a
advertise to
hanging
people
fruit,
what it
You
does.
really calmed the crowd.
Thanks. I wasn't sure I could do it. The Nora is still pissed with the Karja about the Red Raids.
Nope,
And who
it's
can
not
blame
him.
them?
We can
I've never
pretend
seen
it
armor
is.
like yours before.
You've never seen Vanguard steel? Well, let me introduce you. Ring
He does look very much like him, but
protected,
it seems
sturdy
I was
enough to
mistaken.
choke a sawtooth. It has to be. The Vanguard of the Sun King's best. Life takers and machine breakers.
Doesn't look
to
like
rule.
there's much steel on there.
Wouldn't give a Nora warmaid like you more trouble than
Just a
she.
few
He's
little
got-
strips there.
Yeah.
With all that metal to slow you
like-
down?
That's a
Doubt it.
bit of world building also I'm not a big fan of, because traditionally I feel like, and Josh is the historian here, so he can correct me if I'm wrong, but usually when you refer to like so-and-so land steel, it's steel they literally pulled out of the land, and as a result they are proud of the land they own, slash their nation, whereas here it's implied that like
Scrounging,
they just sort of manufacture the
exactly
weave,
the skills you want the man guiding you.
because I don't think there are
Yeah,
any
they-
mines.
They take
known
it
him for a
from
few years.
monster, or not
He's
from,
a
Right.
from the
companion,
robots.
cares
The
his family,
sawtooth,
holds his
yeah.
drink well enough. I
No,
like
when
it.
you
Besides that,
when you
not
talk
much to
about
tell.
like Toledo steel, that does mean steel that's like forged in Toledo, not that's like mined.
Oh no,
wanted to ask you
not
something
modern.
else.
I mean in ye olden days.
But I'll
No,
also
that's what I'm
be
talking
around
about,
after
yeah.
that blessing thing.
I mean, well,
That'd be a
define
better
the
time to
olden
talk.
days, but like if you're talking about like Damascus steel, that's like yeah,
I never
no,
heard
that
anything
that
about
refers to
red
the
raids
the
growing
pattern
up.
of forging
What
that
were
was idiosyncratic. to
Yeah,
everyone.
Really?
it also depends on what we're talking about. For example,
Were
bronze
you kept hidden away?
was
Did you have
never,
overprotective
like,
parents or something?
I grew up as an
oh, this is the
outcast,
bronze
shunned by
from
the tribe.
where we mined the bronze,
Yeah,
because
I've
bronze is an alloy
heard
of
the
copper
metal
and
do that.
tin, which
seems
almost
cruel.
never occur together. So you'd end up with, you get trade
even
caravans
when
bringing in
outcasts
tin,
know
and
about
trade
the
caravans
drones
bringing in
machines,
copper, and then
how
you
they get
forge them
deadlier every
into
year.
bronze.
Well, the mad Sun
But
King figured if
obviously,
he spilled
iron
enough blood to the
is
sun, got it
not
in
an
calm
alloy.
machines. Didn't work. But for years, he raided the tribes and took captives for sacrifice. My sister among them. The Nora put up a good fight, but lives were lost.
It does seem weird that Aloy is completely new to this idea that there was a war going on, just like, you know, over there a little ways, and she didn't notice.
Yeah.
We're not very
My
politically
sister was taken
connected.
captive and sacrificed.
Like explosion noises
Terrible.
carry for a rather long time.
Captive, yes.
Rather long
Sacrificed,
way.
no. It takes more than a few Karja to finish Ursa. She got away, and now she's my captain. Captain of the entire Vanguard. Favored by the Sun King himself.
How did she survive?
If Erend were to call for you,
Story
would that be an
takes a while
Erend
to
signal?
tell. Maybe.
No!
Oh.
You did it!
Or just come to Meridian and meet her yourself.
Does he have any?
I think you'd like.
I
to
see.
show
I
them
thought you were
both
gonna go for like,
rather,
does he have any errands for us?
Direct.
Are we to be his errand woman?
You said the machines have
His
been
knight
getting more
errand?
dangerous every year.
Yeah. I
But-
don't have to tell you that, right?
First
You
I
brought
We
it
gotta
back
shut
to
down
your
this
own
entire
channel.
show. It's gone too far.
Set
Just
Rutskarnoff,
the
Chris. This is your
The way
fault.
I hear it, 15, 20 years ago, the machines
was
weren't
just an
always
Erend comment.
pissed off like they are now. When a hunter
This is an
came
important
out
lore
and
detail.
spooked
First time we get the
run.
hint that, well, actually, there's a little bit when we went after the Sawtooth, but, basically, even 10, 20 years ago, the machines were a lot less violent than they are now.
Now, when a hunter
Which, you
Wonder
know, definitely
why.
will come up in the plot.
That's some Death World shit going on here.
Oh,
I got a question. What the fuck is that armor? It protects his ribs, but not the area around his heart?
If that wasn't bad enough, entirely new kinds of machines start showing up. Bigger, meaner, and heavily armed.
The armor in this game is...
10 years
doesn't
ago, that
look
was.
as functional as much as it does cool.
Isn't theirs is the more generically medieval city, right?
Yeah.
Not the, and then there's the Red Cliff city
Theirs
that's
is
more
the-
Roman-y.
If it were fantasy, it would be dwarves.
Right.
So what happened?
Man, why
How
isn't
did
it that
end?
no video games can
Mad
have, like,
King's
practical-looking
own son
armor in
united
them?
Karja rebels with Oseram freebooters. And together we did the impossible, took back Meridian and killed the crazy old king.
I feel like part of that is just the fact that because you're building it digitally, there's very little incentive to make it feel like something real, something that would withstand an actual hit. Because you're not building something somebody has to wear, and you're not building something someone has to move around in, and you're not building something that actually has to be, like, even play fight. You know, doesn't even get involved in play fighting. It just needs to look cool and look like armor, which is why it's always this, like, over-engineered,
Ceremonial
super
style.
noisy. Exactly, yeah.
I guess you could say we were mercenaries, warriors for pay. Except a lot more loyal than that makes us
This
sound.
is the game's one of the game's more exposition-y parts too.
Yeah, big
It's
exposition dump.
it's laying the
This was
groundwork
a
for the
lot
big
of
open world.
talking.
Yeah. It's laying the
Especially
groundwork.
since, like, they quickly do a... Well, at least where I'm at, like, these people all disappear very soon.
But the new king
In the
Yes,
game.
they do-
Temporarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll come back up later.
Besides, the Karja don't just
Aaron's one of my favorite characters in the game, but he doesn't get interesting until his quests start, and that's hours from now, so...
Yeah, I didn't even know he was, like, a major character. I thought he was just
how
some
big is
guy.
London? What's it like?
Well, I thought that maybe he was had a little bit to do, but I didn't know if he was
Yeah,
gonna,
like,
have a
it's
big
pretty clear
part.
from his introduction, like, he's gonna be a kind of an important character at some point, probably. I was wondering if he was gonna turn out to be a villain or something.
More bridges than the Nora have roads
Yes,
and buildings
well,
tall as
yeah,
mountains.
it could possibly be
Across the valley
one of those
stands the
things.
spire,
I do like how the
They're
game
like,
avoids
he's a
that.
villain early
sky
on.
reflecting the
You don't
sun.
know it.
You really owe it yourself to see it.
Like, the game mostly avoids too much villainy from the individual tribes themselves.
Tell me about the direct.
Oh, the
That's
way
nice.
I went. So it was. But then now, a few more. If that wasn't.
Like Sawtooth.
Yeah, it took-
So
I know it.
Oh, I didn't
there's
realize
conflict.
you could do that.
You didn't?
tell me about Oleg.
Change the, like,
This.
I
cutscene?
should make my way to the blessing.
Yeah, yeah.
Angle?
you can
The
skip
camera
dialogue.
angle?
Look, maybe I shouldn't.
No, he
Oh,
wasn't.
no,
he
I
was
wasn't.
skipping.
I was skipping dialogue real fast.
Oh.
Backwater.
I was like, what are you doing?
I mean, you're smart. You're obviously capable.
I thought you could move around the camera a little bit with the sticks, but you can't apparently.
What are you
It must have been
talking
some
about?
other game.
You know what? All right, if you ever visit Meridian, look me up. I'll show you around, make introductions. It'll be a whole new life if you want it. Anyway, I have to go to that blessing.
Oh, we're getting macked on by the dude with
See
the
you
hair.
Maybe.
He does this a lot. It makes me wonder if there was supposed to be a romantic options thing in this game, and there really isn't.
There are a number of characters that I was like, this looks like they're setting up a potential romantic interest, and then they don't go anywhere with it.
Yeah, there's no romance system in this game, but it feels like at one point there was, and it's all still in the dialogue and mocap, but is not at all in the. It's not at all in the game itself.
Aloy, take your place right there. The prayer lantern is yours.
We're gonna have another
I
emotional
made it for you.
thing to choose here in just a second.
Blasphemy. Sisters.
So,
Aspirants, before each of you sits a prayer lantern crafted by your mother. In her honor, light its flame.
So Aloy doesn't have a mother. Or
It's
she doesn't
an
know who it is.
interesting. I'm not going to get into it now because we're too far from more of the interesting reveals, but I really want to play through the game knowing some of the things that happen later in the game and really kind of do an analysis of it, because there are some themes here.
What do you think, Rutskarn, being blind? What should we choose here?
For myself.
All right.
This is for me. For all I did to make it here. And the answers I'll get after I win the proving.
Yeah.
Oh,
Radical
mother,
individualism.
Prayer. What is a child but a mother's hope that takes flight? A glowing flame that climbs the air, set free to the wind, sailing the sky till it fades and falls. So, from one to another...
I love, like,
Look at all the
of
NPC
this.
walking animations.
But no, I agree with Alex. This is gorgeous, and I love it.
Yeah.
It was
Just
a great
like
moment.
the whole
and
setup, the way like we understand a bunch of their traditions at once is really neat.
It's also really, well, I'll shut up.
It's modest. It's also modest. How about that?
You know my name.
No, I think
Guess Erend told you.
Cancer's talking about spoilers, probably.
Must be this festival. I'm really not one for crowds. Maybe I should just turn it.
Stop dodging my questions.
All right, cool your fire. I got nothing to hide.
I've never seen anyone else with a
He
focus.
reminds me of
Where
someone
exactly did you
famous, and I
find
don't know
In a
who.
ruin, north of the Claim. That's our name for the Asuram homeland.
Is it the
Up
quartermaster
there,
from Black
the metal
City?
seams
No.
from
It is-
I don't know.
Steel giants half buried in loose soil. Forgotten caves that the old ones bored into mountain rock.
That's gonna.
He's
fuck
got
me
mutton
too.
chops, sort of.
I found my focus in a cave just like you're describing.
Does he?
A ruin of the old ones.
He does.
If you've
Yes.
delved
I mean, those are mutton
you know
chops,
as much
yes.
as I do. Go to those places for answers.
I thought
You know
mutton
what he
chops had to
looks
go all
like?
the way up the ear.
No. I guess I know.
He looks a bit like the way you draw Reginald Cuthbert.
He does.
What are you doing here,
He
Owen?
do, I was thinking
Why
that a
come to
little bit,
Norland?
but
Erend needed a scout
It's
for
neither
his
here nor there.
expedition, and a second
Cuthbert
for
is
his
resting.
drinking. That's all. Someone to stop the Sun Priest getting lost. When all this is over, I'm back
Setting
to
up,
delving in ruins, rummaging
you know what?
for scrap, scrounging up trinkets. to
Aaron's
sell.
alcoholism.
So you're an explorer?
Just another outlander, girl. A man's got to make his shards. I just make mine in service to the king's court. That's all.
Ben's got to make his shards.
When we spoke earlier, you winced.
If you know what I
Then looked
mean.
like you were in pain. Or frightened. Did your focus show you something?
It didn't show me anything. I told you. It malfunctioned. Happens all the time.
You're not a very convincing liar.
Do you always accuse people you've just met of lying?
Only the ones who aren't telling the truth.
Fire and spit, girl. I'm a plain hammered man with nothing
I guess
to
if you're an
hide.
outcast.
You don't believe me? That's your trouble, not mine.
I guess if you're an outcast, just like pointing out that people are lying and
don't
persisting and
understand.
asking why
We
they're
have this
lying when you
device in
don't
common, but
know
you
that
can't
they
wait to
mean you
stop
any
talking to
harm.
me.
Seems like an okay thing to do, but
I
generally
already
speaking,
have
that's
all
not
the
a great
friends I
strat.
need, girl. I don't need the bother.
I'm used to being shunned by the
You seem
tribe.
slightly upset for some reason.
I thought you'd be different.
Why?
It's nothing personal.
Why are you lying about not being
It really
upset?
isn't. You should try to enjoy yourself tonight. Big day tomorrow. Always best to make every day count.
Nice.
I love the lighting here, by the way. I love how everything is orange. And I know orange
Yeah.
and blue, lame lighting or color palette, but like, it feels like you feel the warmth and the coldness. I dig it.
Got a quick save going in here, and now it's time to meet angry Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, sweet, can't wait.
That's chuff.
What did you say?
Oh,
Find
boy.
your bed, outcast, and dream of winning the proving. That's the closest you're gonna get.
She's just thinking, wow, my come up would not be complete if there was not a
is this the
hater
bedhouse?
present.
With you standing guard, I figured it was the latrine.
You're very pretty, Jim.
Oh shit! Oh, that's a really big burn when you're
Well,
you having this kind of societal structure, I guess.